So hopefully you've now come up with an idea for a potential game that you could make. And what I would recommend is that you go to File, Save As, and save another version of this scene and call it something like, instead of my scene, call it my idea. And that way you can jump between my scene and my idea, so that you can work on two different levels independently. Because I'm going to be guiding you through my scene, and this is going to be the horror game idea that's kind of my idea, that I'm going to be showing you how to develop it. Now, even though it's my idea, feel free to use it yourself. I really don't mind. That's perfectly fine. But it allows you to actually follow along with this tutorial as well as developing your own idea. Okay, so feel free to save it if you want. Now, my particular idea is going to be a very kind of dark horror style game, similar to 80s horror movies. Okay, a bunch of killers or maniacs have taken over this island, and every now and again they go out into the sea and they kind of capture and kidnap unsuspecting people and take them back to the island. You just so happen to be somebody who's managed to escape one of the boats, and you've made your way to the island, and you now need to rescue all of those kidnapped victims and try not to get killed, basically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this scenario, this setting, this level, so that it matches my story idea. So the first thing I notice is that I don't need the aliens. So I'm just going to click on one of the aliens, and I can see that it's called Prop Flying Saucer, just right there. Okay, so all I need to do is come up to the search and type in Flying Saucer. There we go, I've got all my flying saucers, so I can click on the top one and hold shift and click on the very bottom one and just press delete to get rid of them all. Okay, now I'm thinking that if this was an island, maybe one of these lighthouses could potentially be sending out a beacon of light, and that's how this small boat has managed to find its way to this island. So I want to choose one of these lighthouses. Now I'm thinking about this one because it's actually very close to the main playable area. So I'm wanting to use this lighthouse then as the beginning of the scene. So I can click on one of these red barriers. Okay, and I'm just going to delete that one so that I can now pass through this. I'm going to keep the other barriers in place, they're perfectly fine. And I'm just going to find my first person controller and move them over to where the lighthouse is. Now, if you're not sure exactly where they are in space, you can just double click on the FPS controller. That takes you in there. So as you can see, I'm actually below the ground at the moment. So I need to bring this character way up over here. Right, if I double click now, still below the ground, and there we go, now I'm above ground. And I'm just outside of the lighthouse. I'm probably going to do something with these textures soon. I probably don't want to see this. Probably just want it to be a vast expanse of sea. So I'm actually going to get rid of these. Just click on one and press delete to get rid of. If you do make a mistake at any point, it's just Control and Z to undo, or edit and undo. Now I actually want to try and get rid of these. Okay, probably don't put these into the search because they're all over the game. I only want to get rid of these ones, so I do have to do this manually. So I'm just going to click on it and press delete. There we go. Probably best clicking on the wide area on the bottom that's easy to select. What's it saying about this one? Okay. If that happens to you and you get that message, I'll just do it again. If you get this message, cannot restructure prefab instance, what's happening is I'm trying to delete one of these grey blocks that's inside of a blue block. Okay, and it won't allow me to do that. So I have to click on the actual blue block itself to select everything, then I can delete it. I want to also get rid of this. And I want to get rid of this as well. Great, so now that's open. It looks a lot better. I'm also wanting to get rid of these as well. Now, just to explain, this LOD0 is referenced up here in the inspector. LOD stands for level of detail. So LOD0 basically means that you're getting 100% quality. When you get up to LOD1, you're getting 25% quality, LOD2, 13% quality, and cold, only 5% quality. Okay, so as you can see, when I get closer, it's really good, and then it drops in quality there, and then basically, whereby it's cold, I don't think you can even see it, to be honest. So it just reduces in quality basically, and I think the percentage matches up with how far away you are from the object itself. Once again, I need to select the blue box to delete it. Going to get rid of this one as well. Now I'm going to do something with this particular bit of an island here, but first of all I'm going to get rid of these small posts. Just get rid of these. Okay, and these trees, and now I need to get rid of these trees. So to do that, I'm going to click on the terrain itself. Okay, and in the inspector it opens the terrain editor. And because they're trees, that is under this section, paint trees. Okay, and I'm not entirely sure which tree it is, so you may have to experiment with this. Ensure that the brush size is relatively small like that. Brush size is controlled right there. Okay, that should do. I'm going to hold shift on the keyboard and click and drag, and that will actually erase any trees. So as you can see, this is a different tree. So let's imagine that it's this one. You might have to go through all of them, click, and then you hold shift and you click and drag until you get the right one. I wonder if this one is a manually placed tree. Let's find out. It is. Okay, that's the reason why it's not deleting. So just click on it and press delete. Okay, great. Now what I can do is I can make sure that this is all vast sea, an expansive sea. So I'm going to click on the terrain again. I'm going to go to this first section with a little plus on it. Okay. No, rather I'm going to go to the paint terrain, the paintbrush. The controls have changed slightly from older versions of Unity, and we are going to raise or lower the terrain. Okay, now just double check your brush size. That's actually not bad. And I'm just going to hold shift, and what shift will do, it will make the terrain lower. Okay, we'll actually just send it underneath the water, so just click and drag that. Great. I may also do the same with this as well. Great. So if you find that you've got, like, let's say some really rough edges or something like that, and you want to soften them out, that's the way you can do it. Or you can even raise some terrain wherever you need it. Feel free to kind of sculpt on that. So now when I look out to the sea, I've got like this really nice sea. And once we see the fog as well, it will look like that goes on forever.